This week on The Choice, we're gonna head to Utah for mule deer with Round Valley Outfitters.
Yep, and Vicki's the hunter. I'm the camera girl.
It's kind of a girls' trip, and while we're on this trip, I mean, we gotta see so many beautiful areas and scenic and snow.
Animals, elk, moose, mule deer, of course.
Of course. I mean, we've had a great time, great camp, good food.
Amazing food.
Brett, you're amazing, and you know what? This week on The Choice,
we're hunting some mule deer in Utah.
So Ralph called me up. I was actually traveling, and he said, hey, I have a plan for you. Brett wants you to come out and hunt mule deer in Utah with them, with Round Valley Outfitters. I said, okay, well, who's gonna go with me? He goes, Aubrey. So Aubrey and I, we loaded up the truck and headed to Utah. Hey, we left early this morning at 5:30 in the dark and the rain. We have driven all the way through Colorado, basically the entire state at this point, and we just hit Utah. We've stopped at Cabela's, we've stopped at the gas stations multiple times. We had a wonderful Culver's lunch, and we still have 3 hours and 43 minutes to go. So we're gonna see if we can't beat that time. I'm kidding, don't worry. Don't worry, we're on our way. Blake's waiting for us, do some mule deer hunting. Away we go. The scenery to get from southern Colorado over to Round Valley Outfitters is amazingly beautiful. I mean, we went through all kinds of different mountains, of obviously Rocky Mountains. Went through everything, had a great time, and finally ended up meeting up with Brett. All right, we're here. Okay, so here we are. We're here. We've landed. After a good night's sleep, all four of us, Blake, Brett, Aubrey, and I, we all headed out and started doing some scouting. We're looking for a mule deer, we're looking for a mule deer buck, and we're gonna see what happens today. It's the first morning, it's early, and it's chilly. We end up driving around side by sides, just looking for different critters and seeing what our options are and where we're gonna go and try to stalk on a mule deer. That was cool. That was so cool. So we're not moose hunting this week. We're looking for mule deer, but we've seen 2 moose now, so. Now this afternoon, it's like 60 degrees outside, a little breezier. And we're just gonna do a bunch of glassing. What we're doing is we're driving around, stopping, glassing hillsides, trying to locate some mule deer bucks. Blake, you know, he's trying to be our guide, and no, it's a beautiful, I mean, was it over 12,000 acres that we have that we can run around on here, glassing and trying to find a mature mule deer buck. So that's what we're doing. Round Valley Outfitters.
Would you look at that?
Pretty cool. Look at, she's speechless.
You got my
Bag it and tag it. Let's roll.
On that first day out there, we saw a bunch of mule deer does. We drove all the way up to the top of the mountain. Now, they just got hit with a big major snowstorm, so the activity we saw was kind of slow. And Brett and Blake both thought it's probably because that huge snowfall that came. The lower that we went in elevation, the less snow there was, and that's where we started seeing the mule deer.
Vicky, there's like 100 out there.
I know. That other green field is insane full of them. After that long day, we decided we headed back to camp. We had a wonderful dinner, and we even had some entertainment. You know, it was enjoyable. We had a whole full camp, a whole house full of people, and enjoying dinner.
This segment is brought to you by Bass Pro Cabela's. Your adventure starts here. The Choice is brought to you by Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's, Alps Outdoors, Browning Firearms, Dallas Safari Club, Easton Archery, and Gammo Air Guns.
It's the second morning here at Round Valley Outfitters.
We're just trying to glass looking for some mule deer bucks. That's what we're doing. Aubrey eagle eye behind the camera here already spotted one, right? Like, still dark. I never even saw it. It was like 80 yards away. I'm looking at like 500 yards away, but hey, it's okay. It's a pretty morning. We'll see something.
We are glassing just a ton of land, tons of hills and ridges. We're looking in the snow. You can see the trails where the deer have gone, but we're not seeing many deer. We're seeing a bunch of does, but we're not seeing any bucks. The scenics around there, though, are simply amazing. Since we moved out west from Illinois, I mean, now we live in the mountains, and I've always loved them, but I also love when we're traveling to find out more about the different ranges and the different mountains and the peaks where we're traveling around at. So Blake started telling us about Mount Timpanogos.
You can see, as you go down her feet and see her face on the very left side.
Oh gosh,
and her hair flowing down. And then on this side is the chief, and that's his face in his war bonnet, and their feet are together.
Oh dang.
There's a story to it.
Mount Timpanogos rises more than 11,700 feet above sea level, a towering limestone peak that has long captured the admiration of all who visit Utah's Wasatch Range. It's a place of stunning alpine scenery, dramatic ridgelines, and deep glacial valleys, shaped by time and filled with stories. Today, it stands in the Uinta-Wasatch Cache National Forest, drawing hikers, hunters, and photographers alike. But long before modern trails carved through its flanks, these slopes were home to the Timpanogos, a branch of the Ute tribe whose legacy still echoes through the region. For generations, the mountain has also carried a legend, a story passed down through time. It tells of two star-crossed figures from neighboring tribes, brought together by chance and separated by fate. Their names, Timpanogos and Yukonogos, were joined to form the name we know today, Timpanogos. As the legend goes, their love, sacrifice, and memory were etched into the very shape of the mountain. And if you look closely from Heber Valley or Provo Canyon, you can see the silhouette of a sleeping figure along the ridge, a natural formation locals fondly call the Sleeping Princess. For Vicki, glassing these mountains is a chance to breathe deep and soak in the grandeur of this land. Because here, among these peaks and stories, you're reminded that the mountains hold more than just elevation. They speak to the legacy of the land.
So once again, I learned something about a new mountain, and you know what? It's pretty cool. So this was a long day. We didn't see any mature mule deer bucks for me to go ahead and spot and stalk on. However, we saw so much other game going on. We saw elk, we saw moose, we saw a bunch of mule deer does, we saw a beaver in a little beaver pond. I mean, we saw a whole bunch of things, but now it's time to go home and enjoy some dinner. And Doug and Kim do not disappoint.
This segment is brought to you by Browning, the best there is. This segment is brought to you by DSC, Conservation, Education, and Advocacy. Utah is a land of dramatic variety, from high alpine peaks to rolling sagebrush flats and dense conifer forests. And with that diverse terrain comes an incredible range of big game. Mule deer thrive across the state, particularly in central and southern regions, where elevation and vegetation offer ideal habitats. Elk herds are strong and widespread, roaming everything from mountain ranges to desert plateaus. Utah's management efforts have made it one of the top states in the West for mature bull elk. And in select pockets, we find the elusive but majestic moose, which is the world's tallest, largest, and heaviest living species of deer. Additionally, it is North America's second largest land animal, second only to the American bison in body mass. It's this variety of species that make Utah a destination for hunters nationwide. With Round Valley Outfitters at your side and a trusted Browning in your hands, you're not just chasing a harvest, you're stepping into something much bigger. a legacy of wild pursuit in a land that was designed for it.
The ranch that we hunted this week is part of a cooperative wildlife management unit. It's private property that allows us a longer season than what the public tags normally do. We have a 60-day season, any legal weapon during those 60 days. Tags are guaranteed, which is a real plus, in this business. The way that the program works is we actually manage at a lot lower harvest rate than, say, the public areas around us. It helps us be able to have a little better quality animals, a little higher numbers typically. The areas, the public and the BLM forest properties that surround us are benefited by the quantity and quality of the animals that we hunt.
Hey, good morning. It is day 3 here at Round Valley Outfitters. This morning we are gonna head back out there and look again. They're here, we just have to find them. They're hiding, they're being difficult. But anyways, seriously, we have seen so much game, it's crazy. I mean, honestly, I think we're up to what, about 7 moose now? 7 moose? Brett's hiding from the camera. He's hiding, just so you know, he's hiding. He doesn't wanna be on camera, so we're just gonna, oh, look it. I thought Blake was gonna come. No, he's gonna hide. Anyways, day 3, let's go get him. We've been doing a lot of scouting. We're seeing a lot of great terrain. We're seeing trails. We know that these critters are here. We've seen elk and moose and a bunch of mule deer does, and finally, the mule deer bucks are starting to show up.
From first light to fading sun, the crew is constantly breaking down the landscape, scouting movement, studying habits, and learning what the animals are telling them. There's no shortage of action and no shortage of ground to cover. From wide open basins to dense thickets, this country keeps you guessing. Every turn brings a new view, and every ridgeline holds potential. And with Brett and Blake guiding the way, there's always another canyon to scan and another ridge to glass. It's the kind of day that reminds you why this place draws people back season after season.
The bucks are finally on their feet, and we're seeing them all over the place. We saw 2 bucks sparring like way off in the distance. We've got smaller bucks running around. We spotted a decent 4x4 standing in some brush.
You see a nice 4x4 at the top of the hill. You've been seeing lots of does and little ones, young deer.
Some more bucks started showing up. And I mean, honestly, with all the critters we've seen between the elk, the moose, and all the mule deer, I cannot wait to see what tomorrow brings.
This segment is brought to you by Griffin Armament, engineered silence. The choice is also brought to you by Hoyt Archery, Spy Point Trail Cameras, Tracker Off-Road, Traditions Muzzle Loaders, and these fine sponsors.
Well, it is day 4 out here at Round Valley Outfitters. We're in Utah hunting mule deer. What we've been doing is we've been driving around, getting the spots, glassing, looking for deer. The last couple days it's been warmer down low, which is like a total different area, like ecosystem or something, because it's warm down there, but it's cold up here. Yesterday afternoon we saw some good deer, some bucks finally up on their feet, up higher. We know they're here, we know that. We've seen moose and elk and does and spikes and all kinds of stuff, but now we're stuck. There's a big log in our way. And Blake is gonna hit you with a log behind your back. Turn around right now. Look at him, look at him.
That's what I thought.
Please reenact that.
Please fall again.
Please. Thank you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Thank you.
We are ready to go and see what kind of buck activity we're going to see today. And we see just a bunch of does. The bucks, I think, must just be sleeping in or something like that because they just are not on their feet yet. But hopefully, they'll start moving around soon.
Well, the sun is out now. And it's warmer. We're out of that snow. Still driving around trying to find some critters. Afternoon number 4. We saw some bucks yesterday afternoon. This morning it was really cold and pretty slow except for the very beginning of it. We are gonna go at it again this afternoon. Blake had to leave, so it's Aubrey, Brett, and I, and we're gonna get it done and prove that Blake was actually the bad luck.
The miles start to add up, and so does the time glassing valleys, checking ridge lines, and watching for any sign of a shooter buck. Vicki and Brett are turning up plenty of deer, groups of does scattered across the flats and feeding in the sagebrush. But a shooter? Not yet. That's the challenge here in Utah, where doe numbers outpace bucks, and for good reason. Wildlife managers keep the postseason buck-to-doe ratio around 15 to 17 bucks per 100 does to sustain a healthy herd and balanced habitat. With roughly 300,000 mule deer across the state, most of what a hunter sees in any given afternoon will be does, especially early in the season. Out here, it's about staying patient, staying on the move, and trusting that sooner or later, the right set of antlers will step into view.
We glassed and glassed and glassed, and the sun's starting to hit the horizon, and Brett says, all right, I have one more place I want to look tonight before we go, before it gets dark. So we hop back in the side-by-side, and as we went over the one ridge and started curving around, he slammed on the brakes and he's like, and we all looked up and there's a bunch of deer in front of us, about 150 yards. So we quickly stopped, got out of the side-by-side, started glassing. Sure enough, there's a beautiful buck there. So we got the sticks, I put my Browning on them, and just waited for the right opportunity. He was standing there kind of facing in a different direction, and Brett says, are you comfortable with that shot? I said, I'm comfortable with that shot, Brett.
I don't see him coming out anywhere. Did you see him come out anywhere?
He kicked hard.
Yeah? Yeah, okay, okay.
I didn't see him go down.
No, because I saw him go over the hill.
Over the ridge a little bit there.
After I shot that buck, we knew we're gonna lose light fast. That sun is already on the horizon. So we hurried up, went and recovered that buck and quartered him out.
I see him. Oh, beautiful. Beautiful, look at him. Thank you again.
Congrats.
I'm just gonna say, it was Blake.
With Blake.
Blake was
Blake was the bad luck.
Was the bad luck. That's the exit. Look at, oh, he's beautiful.
Look at the eye guards. Isn't that cool?
That is very cool.
Double eye guards.
Look at that. Beautiful. Beautiful buck. Wow. Oh my gosh, we're here at Round Valley Outfitters. Brett's hiding. You're supposed to come over here.
I'm just looking at it.
Come on over here. This is day 4. Day 1, 2, and half of 3 were pretty slow.
Yeah.
You know, but I mean, we're coming down off of a full moon. You guys had snow, and you kept saying, we promise there's bigger deer here. Because we saw moose every day, elk, and a pile of does. But now, we've got this guy. It's been cold, it's been hot, it's been beautiful, and now we have this beautiful deer again. Ralph hunted elk with you earlier in the season,
Yep.
and then I got to come out and hunt mule deer. So, sir, one more time, thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Good job.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. So I have a tag. Let's get some photos, and I have a tag, and we'll get busy.
Congratulations.
Well, let's see. We looking for a buck, and one showed up, and I shot it. So I think it's you. It wasn't me.
I can't argue.
So what we did is we drove into town here with Brett, dropping off the meat at a processor, and he just went in there, got all that filled out.
Well, congratulations.
Well, thank you so much. Thanks for hanging out to camp with me.
Of course, it's
and
always so
filming
much
it.
fun.
It was. We had such a great time at Round Valley Outfitters. Brett, Blake, you guys are amazing. Blake, you might have been the bad luck.
I think he was.
He might have been. He
You shot when
left.
he
I
left.
shot after you left. We're sorry, Blake, but Brett, you rock.
Yes.
Kim and Dude, thanks for making all the meals. Oh
my gosh.
So delicious. The animals, the scenery. I mean, it was a great mule deer hunt,
It
and
really
I mean,
was.
it was fun.
It was so much
You and I
fun.
kind of have fun. You and I, we go out and we get stuff done.
We really do.
We do. Hey, we want to thank you guys for making your choice.
The choice.
And we'll see you next week.
Closed captions brought to you by Wounded Warrior Outdoors, providing wounded service men and women with therapeutic outdoor adventures.
So after the first day, we got back to camp. I mean, hang on, sorry. And then we could dive down into the deep, dark caves where the tinfoil hats come out and find out that there were giants once upon a time on this land, and they might have been them. If you know me, I have a tinfoil hat. I'm just saying.